Hey there, guys. Video Psych here. Now, I'm a little bit sick. I became sick just yesterday, just as I was about to make a video yesterday, and so I could not make a video yesterday. But I will do my best to make this video today for you guys because I feel that it just needs to be talked about. Now, of course, there is this guy with a bald head and glasses going around that is, I would say, quote unquote, being sympathetic to people being jealous of other people's success. Now, I'm not going to say that literally everything that he is saying is wrong, but yeah, I don't really agree with a lot of what he is saying. And sometimes he is just saying things. I would say he was just kind of overblowing or over exaggerating how bad it really is. And again, this is what I'll talk about today. So I got the video right here. I'll go right to it. I'll try to kind of just watch it here for a moment. And if you guys want to watch it with me right now, or you can watch it, sometime later after you watch this as I talk about it. And I'll just get it started here.
Young people have every right to be enraged. Yeah.
And every issue they see, they look up, they get angry, and they see someone doing better than them. And then every day it is speedballed in their face that they are failing, that they are.
These young adults just have every right to be angry that these people are more successful than them because of the hard work that they put towards their careers. They just have every right to be angry. Oh my fucking God.
Social media. No, actually this Baldy got a point here. He does. You're on social media all the time and you get people pissing you off and you're constantly looking at people that are ahead of you. I think that's a factor. It is.
Oh my God. Really?
Jealousy? Yeah, of course.
It's just jealousy. That's all it is. Is this guy fucking serious?
For the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents.
All right, this guy just said for the first time in history, in let's say 100 to 200 years, that we aren't doing as well as our parents are. At my age, I'm 33 years old now. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Have you guys ever heard about the Depression age? My grandfather went through the Depression age, and they didn't have jack shit growing up. And eventually, as my grandfather grew up, he went on to work at Ford, the motor company, and he, I would say over a decade, was lifting these really heavy 150-pound springs for the roller cars that they had at the time. And he would do that for up to 10 to 12 hours a day, probably. He is a pretty big guy. Of course, he's not around anymore. But during the Depression, what he did to survive was that he would fix up bikes that he found in, the trash. And he would fix them up, and then he would sell them for a cheap price to people. And he told me that most of these bikes weren't even really that broken. He only had to really fix a couple things on most of them just to get them fixed, and then he would just sell them to people. But moving on from that. But yeah, I have no fucking clue what he's talking about. First time in our nation, right?
For 30. That is the social compact breaking down. People
the percentage of children earning more than their parents by year of birth. Damn, you know what this is probably? It's actually probably 1985 or something like that. But people aged 30 to 34, that's fucking crazy.
30 to 34, 60% of them in 1990 had one child.
That was me.
27%. People are opting out of America. They're not optimistic about it. They're not having kids.
People can't have kids because they don't have money to have kids. It's really not complicated, man.
I would say that's about half true. It's not just the simple fact that, having kids nowadays has just gone way up in price, and having a wife and kids has gone way up in price. But it's actually just a simple fact that the owning a house and paying rent has also skyrocketed, as well as many other things currently that have been going on. And what they really need to do is that they need to lower that price. They need to lower the price of going to college and you need to lower the price of living, just in general.
I see people that love to complain and like talk about like, oh, we don't want to have kids. Like even the people that I see that are like, oh, we're child free. A lot of the reasons why they're child free, whenever they start talking about it, like the genesis of that was economic. Like at one point or another, it was like, I had economic anxiety at one point or another. And before you know it, now I don't want to have kids. No, well, more poor people have kids than rich people. Well,
not really.
There are rich people that have a lot of kids, and there's poor people that have a lot of kids. Poor people,
yes,
people that have a lot of kids do it because they're poor, because some of them are just bad at making decisions, and so they have not.
It's because they want kids, you fucking dumbass. And you can actually, if you have enough kids and you're poor, you can actually go to the government and sign up for something so that you can actually get money to take care of your kids. This guy's a fucking dumbass.
9 kids, right? It's just that's the way it is because they're fucking stupid. You also have rich people that have a lot of kids because they can afford to have a lot of kids, and that's like part of some sort of family value.
Some people just want kids just because they want kids. They are a kid person. They'd like to take care of kids and be a mother and be a father. That's it.
You or something like that. The real people that get squeezed are the ones in the middle. It's the people that are the $45,000 to $100,000 a year people. Those are the ones that really kind of get squeezed, and they feel like they can't have kids. That it's the middle class. Yeah, the working poor. Yeah, the working poor is now the middle class. Yeah, it is.
They look up, they see wealth, exceptional wealth across my generation and people in certain industries.
Yeah,
and they are really struggling.
And you see this a lot with like streaming. Like people get so much.
I would say this is probably one of the few things that is at least kind of true, is that many from my generation and Gen Z are seeing the fact that our grandparents and our fathers, I mean, they could be like sometimes fucking millionaires, within a year, and we are just struggling. We are struggling to have enough money for our cars, and like I said before, our homes. If anything, lots of times until just recently, we have only been able to make enough to save up to pay for rent, but then we would have to make a choice between paying rent and having something to eat, etc. And it is just ridiculous. And that, I would say, to an extent, I do agree with.
All about the fact that like streamers make a lot of money. Like they fucking hate that shit. They're furious. Like they're like, they see some streamer or some OnlyFans girl, some dumb girl who doesn't even know where Africa is, and she's getting paid $30,000 a month. Meanwhile, you do know where Africa is, and you can't get a job. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Well, the thing about escorting and doing things like being a hooker do not require you to know what Africa is even, actually. So, but I understand what he is trying to say, is that sometimes you're seeing this dumbass. They're sometimes very privileged. But the thing about being something like an escort or hooker is that, again, you don't have to know this kind of stuff. Your skills are more towards, are you good and bad? And are you nice to talk to? And that's pretty much it. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that's pretty much it when it comes to an escort. But the other thing that you have to think about, let's say you're an OnlyFans person, is that you're going to have to get to know how to do the business. Because if you don't, then you are going to get scammed. And next thing you know, that $100,000 a month that you're getting is going to go missing. And you're going to wonder why. Well, because this other person here is acting like you so that they can get your money. And so on and so forth. So moving on from that.
And so, like, I get it. Because, like, you can intellectualize this as much as you want. You can go and make a fucking rationalization about supply and demand. And this girl's got some really big titties, and not that many people have titties that big, but there are a lot of people that live in Africa and know where Africa is, so it's not that big of a deal.
Stop talking about Africa, man.
This as much as you want, But at the end of the day, you still have that dude thinking to himself, what the fuck?
Is going down, and the incumbents create artificial scarcity on campus. The incumbents who already have a degree, so the degree go up in value. We get very concerned with housing and traffic. Once we own the housing permits are sequestered from young people. Housing prices have gone from $290 to $420 in the last 4 years.
Damn, is that the average? $420,000? That's a lot of money for a house, man.
Yeah, too much.
That's a lot of money for a house. God damn. Wow.
A young person, a house, stocks that I don't own, skyrocket in value. Let's have COVID relief and flush the markets and take assets way up, because if 1 million people dying would be bad, would be tragic if I got less wealthy. And we're doing it on their credit card. We have lost the script. Our kids are more anxious, and more depressed, and more obese, and more addicted. And we have made a purposeful decision to let this happen.
Actually, if anything, kids have gotten less obese, as well as grown-ups have in the past, I'll say 20 years. I remember in, 2004 and 5, I would say, easily the most fat country on the planet. And nowadays, due to the recession in 2007, etc., we now are not the fattest country on the planet anymore. But whatever.
By ensuring that people around this table stay wealthy at the cost of young people.
That's just how it is. I think he's right. It is. He's right. And especially, like, the thing is that it's like if you are, let's say, 20 years old and you're a guy, you never have an excuse to be a loser, right? But there are reasons that you're a loser. And I think some of those reasons can be pretty good. So it's like, I think some people might get confused about a conversation like this because...
Yeah, just go over on the internet and just tell everybody they're a fucking loser. Jesus Christ, man. This guy for real? There is a reason why you are a loser. And I understand he's trying to be honest, but I just... My God. Really? You know, being somebody that was successful in the past, in the let's say 1920s, literally all you had to do back then to be successful was just if you had enough money to, for your home and support your kids and family, that you were successful. You didn't have to have a super yacht like a billionaire. I mean, that's one thing that I do think has gone overboard nowadays, is unless you're the kind of person that owns like a yacht that has a helicopter that lands on top of it, you aren't considered successful nowadays. You have to be like super, super rich or whatever, be the guy that gets in first place and, have like competition all the time to be considered successful anymore. Like the guy that's in first place, it's the only person that's successful nowadays, it seems like. And this is the kind of negativity that I talk about. Because there's many ways that you can be successful. You don't have to be the guy that's in first place all the time to be successful. Even just getting in second place in let's say the Olympics is a really good feat. Even if you're just behind the person at first, that is a really good feat to be able to do. Even third place is a really good feat. I mean, third place is a really good feat to get into the Olympics. That is really, really hard to do. So moving on.
Because a lot of times it might sound like I'm saying two different things. Because it's like, it's usually not somebody's fault that they're in the position that they're in, but it's their responsibility to get out of it. Like, at the end of the day, this guy's not going to come and save you. I'm not going to come and save you. Nobody's going to come and save you, right?
Damn, that's like one of the few things I actually agree with on this guy. I mean, yeah, this guy isn't going to do jack shit to save you. It's not like he's actually going to do anything.
Government's not going to come and save you. And so, like, you're in a situation where... But, like, that doesn't mean that I don't understand the situation, right? And so, like, for example, if you're a guy, you're 20 years old, and you have, like, no real prospects in life, why wouldn't you get addicted to social media and be depressed? Like, I mean, really, you think about it. Like,
I do agree that there are too many kids and people on their phones. They really need to start neglecting that phone a bit more, if anything.
Why wouldn't you be depressed? Because, like, a lot of guys, they're not really, it's not like there's like a chemical imbalance in their brain They just look at the world and they say, damn, this shit's rigged. What the fuck? And so then they just play video games and jerk off to.
That's just life. Whether you are trying to become a millionaire or have a successful business, it has always been rigged. It has always been rigged. And there's always been scams out there. And the truth of the matter is that they are not just going to let you have $1 million to $3 million and be successful like that, because we all want, the thing is, we all want that kind of money. We all want that kind of success. But the truth is, not everybody is going to be able to have that kind of success. And that's just how the world works. That's how it's always worked. And again, they are not just going to give that to you. You either have to find some very smart way to get it, or you have to work very hard in order to get it. Because again, they are not just going to give it to you.
Anime. And it's like, really, you can be like, oh, that's stupid. But like, how is it stupid if there's no way for them to get around it in their mind? Again, and it's about in their mind. Like, it's not about like what the reality is or not, because that's the way that people feel. I deserve some.
Yeah, you might have heard me say something like that before, that people just, that's not how harsh reality is. That's just the way that people feel sometimes, that they can't do anything about their situation. And so they just become a shut-in a nutshell.
Fortune to fall out of the sky for me. I understand that, but like, I get that some people, and this is the problem, is like whenever you're 20, you don't look at it from that perspective, right? You look at it from the perspective that like, I was supposed to have this stuff. Other people that I know have it. I don't have it, and I hate the world because of it. And it.
Well, that's because you guys teach these kids that they're just going to get it. I mean, just like when I went to even through high school, they told everybody, hey, if you go to college, then you're just going to get a job or something like that. Well, the thing is, when you go to college, here's the truth about college. If you go to college and you take a class, that doesn't mean that you're actually going to get into that job. Now, maybe after 5 to 10 years, maybe you'll actually get the job that you want. But again, it's like I said, you have to get to know the right people. You have to work. Yes, you do have to actually work. They aren't just going to give it to you, etc. And don't worry, I'm not lecturing you, but I'm just telling you differently from what they're telling you. They're going to tell you that you're just going to get it. I'm not going to tell you that, because that's just the truth.
It's like you can say boo-hoo, too bad, and you can be right. You can be absolutely right. And that is absolutely true. However, it doesn't change the way they feel. Because like there's a way that you feel and there's a way that you act. And those are usually two different things. Even if you're aware of the problems of the world, nihilism is a tool for the oppressor.
I don't know if he was just trying to act smart there for a moment, but he just sounded like a complete moron. I don't think he even knew what the hell he was talking about.
Yeah, either way, you got to take things into your own hand, man. I feel like these types of views are always an echo chamber for people astounded that generations in power made shit decisions. I think that everybody makes shit decisions, whether it's old people or young people or anything like that.
I mean, of course.
There's nothing that's special about it at all. We went backward for maturity on people who are 22. They're not equipped to handle life. Well, how could they be? They spent 2 years in the fucking solitary confinement for COVID in 2 of the most formative years of their life. So, of course, they're going to have unironic arrested development, because that would.
It is true that people have been out of practice, but I think it's been a bit more than that. Lots of people that have been going back to work have been very out of practice from living off of the government for at least a few years now. And now that they have finally been going back to work, now we, let's say, go to a Burger King or McDonald's, and sometimes our order isn't right. And I mean, just little here, there are things I've noticed, you go to Walmart and the service is just kind of meh. And then, just things I've seen over time, because people have become out of practice of work. And so now we're going to have to get back into practice of working again.
It was designed that way. I mean, shit. It's hard to be disciplined. Yeah, it is. It is hard. And
it's always been hard. Jesus Christ.
Again, like just because it's hard doesn't mean you can't do it. But damn, I think that people can resent the fact that it's so hard. That's the way I see it.
But that's the end of the video. And, it was kind of an interesting video to listen to, at least. But it was also just kind of Are you guys? I just sometimes think, are these people really, just saying this shit to kids, like this? I just think it's so full of shit. And sometimes it does make me angry that they are telling this to kids around the world, like, we're going to sympathize with you because you aren't as successful. I mean, maybe you can maybe sympathize a little bit for people that aren't successful as others, but you also need to teach these kids, don't look at the negative so much all the time. And the reason why earlier at the beginning of the video I stated that they're kind of overblowing this is the fact that not every Gen Z and millennial is like this. I mean, I sure as hell am not like this. I'm not just looking at people that are more successful than me and thinking, oh shit, I'm supposed to have that. Well, I mean, why am I supposed to have that? Is what I would think. Because I mean, it's not like I'm doing the kind of work that supports that kind of lifestyle, I would say. Why should I have something like that is the better question. Because I know that you just don't get something like that. They aren't just going to give it to you. You have to either know the right people, you have to have the right kind of job to get that kind of stuff. And like I said before, not every place has a lot of seats left. But here's one thing you guys can try out. How about just looking at the other jobs that are not IT? There's plenty of different types of jobs out there that are paying actually even sometimes more than IT is, actually. I mean, there's some construction workers, they're getting paid like over $50 to $60 an hour, depending on what position you're in. And it's just real. And they have very good benefits. They actually have really good benefits, and they make more than enough to support their families. And yet nowadays, it's just like these younger generations are discouraged from, going towards these types of jobs and learning how to do this stuff. And with that being said, I guess I'll just end the video. I have a lot to say, but I'll just kind of stop it there. If you guys want to talk more about it, I'll talk to you later, and I'll see you later. I said it twice.